What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Topics with the Tech, episode 2. Really enjoying this because obviously I get to just talk to myself and to you, the listener, and share stories, topics, tools, whatever it might be to help you on your journey. Now, I know a lot of you, well, probably most of you, are looking at wanting to start your own thing. A lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of people that want to really, dive in and take that risk to become the person you want to become. And I thought the best way to talk into that was talk about my cog to captain moment, going from the cog in the wheel, in the system, in the whatever you want to call it, to becoming the captain of my own journey, my own life. Now, it wasn't easy, but goddamn, it feels good. And taking that risk of going from 9 to 5 to running your own business, yeah, it's a lot. It was scary. I've now been full-time in my business since 2021. I believe it's been, and I was sort of dipping my toe in it for years before that. All up, it's been about 8 years of self-development, learning what I can about business, myself, mindset, listening to podcasts, all the things, and it's obviously why it sort of led me to now running my own podcast, coaching, events, everything I'm doing now. So, let me start with this little hero's journey story. Imagine standing at the edge of a vast, uncharted ocean. Behind you lies the familiar shore of your 9 to 5 life. Safe, predictable, but somehow unfamiliar. Somehow unfulfilling. Fucked it up. And that's okay, we continue. Ahead, the horizon shimmers with possibility, but the waters are dark and choppy. This was me in early 2021. Toes curled over the precipice of change, heart pounding with equal parts excitement and terror. Little did I know I was about to embark on a 3-year odyssey that would test me to my very core, and holy shit, it has. It's reshaped my entire identity and ultimately led me to a life I once only dreamed of. This is the story of how I navigated those treacherous waters and how you can chart your own course to self. That's self-employment, that's self-led, self-love, and self-empowerment. Whether you're just considering dipping your toes, like I said, it can feel like you're swimming in the deep end straight away. So this episode, let it be a lighthouse in the storm. Grab your life vest, let's fucking jump in. Because to me, it's been the best thing I've ever done. Yes, it's been horrifically hard some days. Yes, I've wanted to give up multiple times. But I cannot explain that feeling that when I was in the car that day making that decision of leaving my casual job, I sort of was playing it safe still. And one step at a time, I was started off with a clothing brand. I think it was, 7 years ago now, with my best mate. Did that for about 4 years and understood the concepts of marketing, sales, branding, all the things that come with business. So I still wasn't very good at it, but I was working a full-time job. I'd work full-time, drive an hour to the work, an hour home, and get home and work on my business. So I was dedicated, man. Like when you're lit up, you are lit up and you'll do what you need to do. So the biggest thing that I had to overcome was that inner critic, which I know a lot of people still struggle with, is that fear of failure. What if it doesn't work out? I can't afford it. What if I lose everything? Blah, blah, blah. All the usual stuff. I had the same thing. It's that, I call it the fear DJ. It's always ready to play those same old tracks of self-doubt. Ricky, you're going to lose, motherfucker. And it'll just come in and just keep playing track after track after track of that same old, you're useless, you can't do this, very critical of ourselves. And I find that comes a lot from how we grew up, how our parents spoke to us, how society spoke to us. It's not always parents. It's not always their fault, right? It's not really their fault at all. Well, for some people it might be, but if you want to blame anyone, fuck that. Let's just blame the world and take responsibility for making the changes. How about that? But truly, coming into embracing risk was the biggest change for me, and embracing failure, which led me to actually coining a term, which is fast action ignites learning. So, fail. I knew that by failing really fast, I could learn really fast, and that's what's made me get to where I am today. I believe it's probably my biggest strength is that I'm okay with imperfect action. There was a point there where that was probably too much failing and too much just getting it out there without actually taking a bit of like, hey, dude, like, how about you do some quality assurance on this? Make sure it's good, right? That's a thing for me where I've had to sort of meet in the middle and go, all right, Trav, there's a difference between failing and also putting some effort into what you're doing, dickhead. So there's that middle ground of let's get it done. Let's not step into the perfectionism aspect, which is a barrier and a guard to the fear of failure, right? Because if you don't ever do it, you can't be judged. So at the core of it is probably a lot of like fear of judgment. Most people don't necessarily have a fear of failure. And I remember Chris Griffin saying this on the podcast. It was great. It's like if you tripped over and no one saw you trip over, do you care? Probably not, unless you hate yourself. But if someone saw that and was like, suck shit, you tripped over, that's when the feelings come up of the embarrassment, I'm not good enough, blah, blah, blah. So I wanted to touch on some key points for what helped me. I've got a little list here to help you guys overcome those self-defeating thoughts and habits that might be holding you back from actually becoming the person you want to be, doing what you want to do, starting that business, changing career, whatever it is. I'm not telling everyone that they need to go from the 9 to 5 to a business, but this might be you might be able to use this in other areas of your life. But this is specifically for those people that want to take the leap, go do their own thing, or go try another career, whatever it might be. So embracing risk. Risk taking isn't just jumping off cliffs. It's learning to build your parachute on the way down. That is probably one of the most profound ones for me, is that I will jump off that fucking cliff and just learn on the way down. And that might seem really scary to a lot of people. And don't get me wrong, I'm pretty much always like afraid. Like I did my recent workshop for a big business down at Brizzy. I was terrified, man. A couple of weeks leading up, felt like football again. Like that performance anxiety and like, oh shit, am I going to fail? Blah, blah, blah. So I don't not get it. I'm just really good at dealing with it now and also just embracing it. Because I know when I get that uncomfortable, there's probably something really good on the other side of it. So if you can start embracing that, building that, rewiring that into your unconscious mind that, when it gets really hard, things get really good, cool, embrace that, move towards it, get out of your comfort zone, lean into that. Because every time you push, the comfort zone gets bigger. So those bigger things that were really scary become really easy. Like speaking on stage for me now is a piece of piss. And yet when I was, probably even a couple of years ago, that was the last thing I wanted to do. Last thing, man. I'd do anything other than speak on fucking stage. And I know you can feel that too. The fail aspect, fast action ignites learning. Finding mentors. They are the master locksmiths. They help you unlock doors you didn't even know existed. Now, this is the thing, like, you've probably heard me so many times say, get a coach, get a mentor. Oh, fucking Trav's just trying to sell himself. Well, yeah, of course work with me, man. I know what I can do. But also, I know what it's done for me. It's shortened my learning gap so much. Like I paid a mentor, Kiani, in November last year. I was with her for 6 months. She took my business from like nothing, man, to, big months. And I know people say, it's not about the money. Well, it is, because without the money, I can't make the impact I want to make, and I can't live how I want to live. So let's make it about the money. The money became really fucking good. But I also wasn't really used to that. My nervous system, my belief system, all those things that we have hidden in the unconscious almost self-sabotage me too. And I'm still going through that, right? And I wanted to bring that relevance here, and I've got another little segment within these episodes is where I'll just pick a random page in a book. Funnily enough, I've hit this page in The Mountain Is You, incredible book by Brianna West. Highly recommend it. West. Hitting your upper limit. As discussed before, there is only a certain amount of happiness that most of us will allow ourselves to feel. Gay Hendricks called this your upper limit. Your upper limit is essentially the amount of good that you're comfortable having in your life. It is your tolerance and threshold for having positive feelings or experiencing positive events. When you begin to surpass your upper limit, you start to unconsciously sabotage what's happening in order to bring yourself back to what's comfortable and familiar. For some people, this manifests physically, often as aches, pains, headaches, or physical tension. For others, it manifests emotionally as resistance, anger, guilt, or fear, and excuses. So you might think about, what's my upper limit? And you think about it. I spoke to someone this morning where they're like, yeah, dude, it's so crazy. I get a certain amount of money in my bank account and then all of a sudden I spend it all. That's his upper limit. That's what he gets to. And unconsciously, he's like, if I make more than that, it means something. So let's get rid of it. I know I'm all over the shop at the moment, but I'm sure something lands. This is all about golden nuggets. Whatever lands for you, it's perfect. But as I said, mentors, that is the biggest hack. The podcast for me, it allowed me to meet people that I wouldn't have had access to. I became friends with them, a lot of them. A lot of them became mentors. They taught me so much, coached me, all those sort of things. But yeah, look, paying for mentors, like I've just paid for another one recently. And rather than me sitting there for months trying to figure out how to get my messaging right on social media, Dayron's now showing me, like within a couple of weeks, I've dialed everything in. So yeah, get mentors, guys. It's not a fucking fad or a thing that coaches are just trying to see like, oh, go get a mentor. It is a game changer. Overcoming the urge to quit. Quitting thoughts are like sirens, luring you back to the shore of complacency. Your determination is the wax in your ears. Oh, I like that. I forgot to even put that in there. For me to describe my darkest moments would be the aspects of those days where it's like, fuck, haven't got any clients, don't have any money, how am I meant to pay for rent? I had these moments when I first started out. Luckily enough, at the time, I had a partner that was very supportive. She helped me out some weeks where we couldn't, well, I couldn't afford food. She would get us groceries, little things like that. But I also really struggled to receive help. So a lot of the time I would like be like, nah, I'm not doing it. The whole proud thing with men. But I slowly started to accept and receive. Receiving such a big thing because if you can learn to receive help, especially as a man, and get over that pride thing of, oh, I've got to be the provider. I'm a piece of shit. I'm useless if I don't. No. Sometimes we get to be supported by the people around us too. And that opened me up to the fact that if you can learn to receive, you're probably going to learn to receive more money too, and opportunities and things that will help you in this life. You have those depressive days and whatever, which is, coming back to those dark moments where I wanted to give up. Yeah, I've had plenty of them, but I think if I didn't, I wouldn't be on the right path. I think that's all part of this journey. Is meant to be hard, man. Like if you weren't being pushed, you're not growing. If you're going to the gym and just lifting the same fucking weights every time, you don't get stronger. So embracing the pain, the suck. You hear Goggins and that talk about it. It's so true. My journey has been nothing but leaning into the discomfort and growing from it. I can't even imagine what the Trav from 7 years ago could do compared to the one now. I have love for him, but man, the version of me now, get out of town, man. And that's just come from doing shit I don't want to do. So yeah, overcoming that urge to quit, I continue to do so, continue to show up, continue to post. Even if you feel like no one gives a fuck, you just keep going. And consistency will beat anything. You hear it all the time. Support systems, have that in place. I have a brotherhood of other coaches and businessmen that I catch up with weekly. My fiance, Christelle's incredible. Her support is just unwavering and it helps me so much. If you don't have a partner, find another business, someone else is in business. Check your environment because if you're trying to run a business or get into this stuff without having positive support network around you that can just hold you in those moments, good luck trying to get through that. It is really, really fucking tough. Even having a friend just there, parents, whatever it might be, just make sure your environment is really supportive. Embracing the shadow self. Your fears and doubts aren't enemies. They are something to embrace. I think shadows tend to be seen as like this negative thing, this negative part of the psyche that we've pushed away all the little kinky versions of us and the parts of us that we don't want to be seen. And it is part of that. But there's probably also parts of you that you had this talent as a kid, but mum and dad didn't approve of it or society didn't approve of it. So you pushed it away. And I've started to realize what my strengths are and my talents because I pushed them away because I was a football player. I was like, well, I can't be creative. I can't be a drawer. I can't be whatever else is. And I've channeled that into this incredible passion and ability to be super creative, like come up with epic art and concept art and ideas and like a bit of a visionary with understanding how to create like a workshop process and things like that. Like that is a talent of mine, but I didn't even know that until I started to really dive into it. So embracing all parts of you, you'll actually uncover parts of you didn't realize even existed and parts of you you've suppressed essentially. So embrace all parts of yourself, find out what it is, journal on those things, uncover those things. Usually it'll come from the triggers, what are the things that piss you off the most or hold you back or bother you. Lean into discomfort because it will teach you so much about yourself. That's all I've done. And expanding the comfort zones, as I said before, it's just every time you build, you grow, the comfort zone just gets so much bigger. And things that you just used to scare you, they become easy, man. It's so much easier. I know this is probably rushing through it, but I really want to get as much as I can into this. It's already like 15 minutes, I think. But a couple of tips and tools. Mindset alchemy. So transform limiting beliefs into empowering questions. Instead of, I can't do this, ask yourself, how can I make this possible? I think that little shift, a lot of people are super negative about what could go wrong. What about what could go right? What about what's possible? Not like, oh, fuck. So many people are the yeah buts. I've got people around me that have been like that in the past and I've been able to shift that of, hey, what if it can work out? Why do we go like automatically to the negative? I know why, because most people are like, oh, well, if I don't have anything to look forward to, I don't have to worry about being let down. Or you don't have to worry about it failing because then you've already put a little crutch on it. It's like I used to come up with injuries when I was playing footy. So if I had an injury, I didn't have to play well because I had an excuse. Ridiculous, right? The 5 minute rule. When facing a big task, commit to just 5 minutes. Often momentum will carry you further. I get overwhelmed like crazy. I don't know if it's ADHD or whatever, but I find that when there's so much to do, I get overwhelmed by thinking about how much there's so much to do, and then you end up just doing nothing and just scrolling. I've done that many times, and I've found with the Pomodoro techniques incredible. So it's like you work for 20 minutes, get up for 5 minutes, get outside, come back in, 20 minutes again, hyper focus, noise cancelling headphones, things like that. Emotional bookkeeping. So track your emotional state like you track your finances. Finances, yes. I love this because you can get a bit of an idea of what. Sorry about the sip, getting thirsty. Identify what activities deposit or withdraw from your emotional bank. So seeing what you love doing, what you hate doing. I'm not saying to start just giving people those jobs and, they say to give it to like a VA or something like that. I have learned so many different parts of my business that I did not want to fucking do, especially accounting. But then now I've got an epic accountant, shout out Cam, one of my good mates, and he sorts everything out for me. But the little things like creating content at the beginning, I fucking hated it. So many people that start doing this stuff, they're like, oh, I can't do this, I'm not good with tech and whatever. No, it's just something that you probably suck at right now and you need to get better. And that's with everything in anything you do. You're probably not going to be good at it when you first start. Take some time to get better. It's fine. The rubber band technique, wear a rubber band on your wrist, snap it gently when negative self-talk arises to interrupt the pattern. I really like that. I've been searching some of the tips and tools that I've used over the past. For me, it's not a rubber band anymore. I literally used to wear like one of those bands that said some little quote on it. But now for me, it's like when I start to feel myself in that negative sort of space and I'm trailing off onto another thought process, it's just to sit there, close my eyes, a breath. Like breath work's changed my life, and really feel into what is it that's blocking me right now and what's stopping me. Write it down, because when you can see your thoughts on paper, they can't control you. Well, they probably still will for a lot of people just learning, but understanding that you are not your thoughts, you can really see them for what they are. You can call bullshit on a lot of them. You can see them for what they are, and they don't necessarily control you. So I find that getting it on paper, like little notebooks and things like that, that can help a lot. And obviously the old, setting goals is great, but for me, I will never forget, and I've said this a few times, Kobe quoted it where it's like so many people look at the top of the mountain rather than the first step. So rather than you sitting there and looking at the top of the mountain and go, holy fuck, that's a big mountain, I'll never make it up there. So you're setting these big goals. So many people are so big on setting goals, and I've learned obviously in my business time here is that yes, businesses need goals. You need your monthly goals, quarterly projections, all those sort of things. But understanding that if you're just looking at that and getting upset because you didn't make it, then, well, what's the point of that? Rather than just looking at the first step and going, all right, what do I need to do to get to that? Let's focus on that. Let's focus on, rather than the outcome, focus on the input. So come back to, all right, what do I need to do daily and for the next 3 months for me to hopefully get to that point? But if I don't, I knew that I showed up every day and did these things. That output or the input led to the outcome. I think that's so important to remember that. And as I sort of sit here, again, there's so much more I want to talk about and talk into, but what I thought was this topic's so important, and I'm actually going to interview some people and like little quick episodes, like 15, 20 minutes on their journey from leaving their jobs or taking risks and doing things they want to do. My mate Aiden Hiko, shout out to Ados, he's had an incredible journey, and he messaged talking about it when he saw it in my stories that it's a great opportunity to talk to a heap of people about this. So I think it's a great topic to stick to for a little bit, because it sounds like there's a lot of people wanting to know, how do you navigate this? What do I do? I've got so much more to talk about into this. So I will do a few different parts on how to overcome those fears, how to do that, and really ask you, the listener, what is it that you need to know about it? What is something you got from today? Share it, tag me, send it to me. Tell me if it was shit. Tell me if it was good. Did you get anything from it? I'm always open to feedback. I'm always open to improvement. If there's anyone that you want me to get on to talk about this subject in particular with the topics with the tech, let's do it, because I think for anyone that can't be fucked sitting there for 2 hours or hour and a half of my other episodes, these little episodes I feel are going to be a great segue into those. So hope you had a beautiful experience. As I said, I've got so much more around this. Please reach out if you want to hear more, and let's fucking go.